Okay, so I'm fine the way that it is? Somebody say yes? Okay.
We're gonna feel sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that. I am back.
Okay, I'm going to shut this down. Here we go. I'm going to do it again. All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. I know time is of the essence. I truly apologize. I hope that I still am broadcasting. If I am, please make sure that you let me know that you're getting what I am saying in the way in which you need to receive it. It's super, super important to me. Again, I'm Cheldin Barlatt Rumer, and this is it. We're going to jump into the personal branding section of what it is that we are doing. I want to give you my definition of personal branding. So simply said, jumping in, personal branding is what people say and think about you in your absence. What people say and think about you in your absence. That is your personal brand. What you think of yourself and your perception of yourself, unfortunately, that is not what is going to move the dial. It's what people say and think about you in your absence. That's your personal brand. People purchase personalities, experiences, and most importantly, reputations. They don't purchase products or services. The majority of us are not the first group of people to invent something. I'm not the first talk show host. I am not the first evangelist of personal branding. I am not the first expert within marketing. I'm not. But people are going to gravitate towards me based on my personality, based on the experiences in which I provide, based on the reputation in which I leave behind. So understanding that your personal brand is what people say and think about you in your absence, and the importance of the experiences that you provide, the personality that you share, and the reputation that you leave behind. One of the things that I need you to do first and foremost is I need you to Google yourself. Some of us, Ashley, more often than not, Google ourselves. We know exactly what people are saying about us on a regular basis. We know what our perception is and how it's being received. But a lot of professionals, a lot of executives, a lot of even entrepreneurs and small business owners are not clear on what people are saying about them in the World Wide Web, needless to say, in the comfort of their own homes. So what I need you to do is I need you to Google yourself. That's number one. Number two, I need you to get prepared to get to work. The equation that I use is aspiration plus action equals abundance. You have to want something. You want your brand to work for you and you not work for it. And you want to make sure that you are prepared to take the action steps necessary in order to make that happen. You have to be clear on what abundance means to you. That's right. What does abundance mean? Is it more followers and fans? Is it making more money? Is it about having more people know about you today than yesterday? What does that look like? So you need to take that aspiration, what it is that you have dreamt up. You have to pair that with the action in order to get what it is that you want. Aspiration plus action equals abundance. And as I was sharing before, so many people came to me in what I call a whisper. They wanted to take their bakery and turn it into Mrs. Fields, but they weren't able to part their lips to tell me why. Why should somebody purchase your product or service? Why should somebody sing from the rooftops about what you have going on? Why should somebody pay you an invoice that has a comma in it if you can't part your lips to say why? It's time for us to identify those things. And I have a key group of ways in order to be able to make that happen. So we're going to begin to define your brand. How do we do that? We identify who we are, what we want, and why we deserve it. And it is not a touchy-feely thing. It is a true thing for me to say you have exactly what you need today to get what you want and what you need in the moment. So you're gonna identify who you are. I, at proudly 42 years old, own a digital network. 22-year-old Cheldin would never be able to service the community that proudly 42-year-old Cheldin services. I deal with my community and my business as I stand today in a way in which works for me and my business today. You need to be comfortable with where you are today in order to share your current story and make sure that you can adapt to current clients. So who are you today? What professionally and personally are you? Are you an executive within the space? Where does that lie? In a social space, are you a mother? Are you a father? What does that look like? From a hobby scenario, are you a cyclist? What attributes of your life contribute to your personal brand? All of those factors will come into conversation, will come into networking, will come into building your brand in a strategic way. But you've got to get comfortable with who you are. And that's who you are today, not who you're going to be. I'm lucky. I am adjunct professor at Temple University in Philadelphia. I teach personal branding to young people. Right. Pray for me. I teach personal branding to young people. And so often they're on their LinkedIn accounts, and you might be as well, embellishing where they are, claiming that they can be directors when they've directed nothing, claiming that they can be managers when they've managed nothing. When the perfect job for them is for them to be a coordinator, for them to be an assistant, for them to have an entry-level position, they are so worried about making sure that they feel and look like they're bigger than they are, that they're missing their current opportunities. So I want you to be realistic in who you are. I want you to understand your personal brand as it stands today so you can get exactly what you need within this moment. So again, you're going to understand who you are. You're going to understand your strengths. What are you good at? I know that's something that a lot of us don't really pay attention to, but there are things uniquely to you that you are good at. I am an amazing communicator, right? When the technology works, at least for me, when I understand it, right? I'm an amazing communicator. And I love to do it, and it brings me so much joy, but I am awful at math. Yes, it is not a real thing. No one wants me in their Excel. Nobody wants me managing their budget. It is a weakness for me. So I understand my strengths, I understand my weaknesses, and I'm going to play heavily to the strengths that I have. Please keep in mind that I'm not saying that you need to be perfect at everything. I want you to dance in the things that you are very, very skilled at. I want you to recognize your weaknesses and do our best to avoid putting ourselves in situations where we cannot justify what it is that we want. Right, that's next. What do you want? You need to understand your short-term goals and your long-term goals. I call your short-term goals sticker goals. They have to adhere for a significant period of time. They cannot blow off with the wind, but they are not forever. They will not be chiseled on your tombstone. So many people, when you ask them what they want, they're like, I'm not sure. When they know that the answer is more clients, when they know that the answer is build my community, when they know that the answer is I want more people to see my Instagram stories. They're tripped up because they think it needs to be this permanent, long-term commitment. Those are what I call my tattoo goals. Those are things that can only be surgically removed. Those are things that are going to stick with you for a long period of time. Right now and today, we focus on our sticker goals, things that we need to do today in order to get closer to what we want long-term. Your personal brand helps you in cementing your stickers so you can get yourself to your tattoo. So that's what you want. Why do you deserve it, my friends? Oh my goodness, why do you deserve it? This is when we begin to brag boldly. This is when we begin to recognize all of the things in which we have done. And this is what I call your highlight reel. So many of us want to share our whole story with the world. The good, the bad, the ugly. What I want you to share is your highlight reel. I love John Bon Jovi. Some of you might as well. I go and I watch his concerts and I love him. I listen to him on the way there. I listen to him when he's on stage and I listen to him on the way home from the concert. While he's performing, I want him to play his greatest hits. I don't want to hear the new song that he created in his basement on the cuff. I want him to play his greatest hits. I've paid the ticket for the greatest hits. And sometimes you want to share, overshare things that are not in your advantage, things that aren't going to help you get to your sticker goal, thing that's not going to help you in sharing who you are, what you want, and why you deserve it. I need you to identify your highlight reel. If you have questions about this, please let me know within the comments because we're going to address these at the end. So you're going to identify that highlight reel. Also in the same vein, you're going to focus on your value items, the things and the campaign that you want to bring to the table. What are the things you want to share? What are the things you want to share with your audience? Even though you sell countless products and services, I need you to focus on the Shamrock Shake of things. Yes, McDonald's sells French fries and quarter pounders, but during Shamrock Shake season, that is what they're focused on. What are you focusing on? How is that going to make it make sense? How are you going to have the ability to do that? What are the key things you're focusing on for your personal brand? For me, it's public speaking. It's teaching personal branding one-on-one. It's having all of you as a guest on This Is It TV. That doesn't mean that that's all I do. That just simply means that I am focused on a campaign for my personal brand today. I want you guys to look at building your community out and look at being able to share your personal brand with the world. I have a little story. It's going to be very, very short. My mother, I'm obsessed with her. She's wonderful. But some of you may have mothers like this or you have become this woman. I have become this woman. When people are coming to your house, you vacuum everything. You clean everything. You beat those drapes. You are able to vacuum, clean, wash every single dish because people are coming to your party. Social media, in your space, all of the stuff, your website, this is your house. To build your personal brand, you must clean your house because every time you give out a business card, every time you encourage somebody to follow, fan, and like you, you are inviting them to your party. Is your house clean? Is everything that you want to be shared out and open? Are you serving them food and drink and everything that makes so much sense? Are you doing that? Or are you letting them see that your room is messy, that the drawers are overflowing? Are you putting your best foot forward as you look to build your community? Or are you cleaning your house? Is your house clean? I want to make sure that that's the case. I want to make sure that as you build your personal brand, as you've identified who you are, what you want, why you deserve it, you are now beginning to share that with the world. Is it all present in your social media? Is it present on your website? As you've Googled yourself, is everything that you want people to see, is it visible? Have you cleaned your house? And I'm going to take that party analogy to the next level. Let's talk about the invitation to the party. How many of you have had a party? Plenty. Countless numbers of you have had parties. Have you given people different addresses to attend your house? Have you? You haven't. You give them one address to attend one party. The same needs to apply as it relates to your social media and your website. One address, one party. Stephen, if you are now Steve, then that needs to be the address across the board. Stephanie, if you are now Steffi, then across the board, your brand should say Steffi. Michelle, if you are Shelly, then it should say Shelly. You have to be able to connect directly to the people that who have what you want. And in order for that to happen, your address to your party needs to be the same. So we're going to organize ourselves. We're going to Google ourselves. We're going to see if we are making it easy for people to find us, because the last thing we want to do is create a scavenger hunt of sorts. We want to make sure that our house is clean, that we are bragging boldly about what it is that we are doing. And I know we're going to get into the question and answer, but this is for somebody that's out there that says, I don't want to brag, that comfortably says, you know, I don't want to brag, but I have 20 years of experience. I don't want to brag, but I've been a successful entrepreneur for 15 years. I don't want to brag, but I'm a seasoned author. I say no more. I say we brag boldly. We begin to get comfortable being uncomfortable, sharing all of our accomplishments, adding them to our highlight reel, and affording people the ability to know what we want them to know so we can get what we want. The best part about that is for you to become a storyteller. So instead of selling, I need you to tell and not sell. Let people know what you've got going on through your highlight reel, through your value items, understanding, getting comfortable, leading them to one place with one address, cleaning your house and getting ready for company. I want that to be true. And a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. I don't believe that that exists. A pocketbook cannot become a Louis Vuitton overnight, right? A watch just won't miraculously become a Rolex. We are not going to pretend to be something to eventually be real. We must be real the whole entire time. So we are going to meet each other where we are. We are going to understand who we are, what we want, and why we deserve it. We are going to share it with as many people as possible. We are going to Google ourselves and make sure that the content we want to share is consistent with who we are. And we are going to find our voices so we can scream our dream. I want to make sure that you all connect with me for sure. I will answer any questions that you may have about your personal brand, how to get what it is that you are out into the world, how to do it strategically and in a rhythm where you're not feeling as if you're bombarding your future client base, but you're rewarding them with your messages. I'm sorry I started off on a little bit of a rough start, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to come back to you and connect with you and allow for you to understand that your marketing voice is your strongest tool. And knowing who you are and sharing that with the world will get you to exactly where you want to be.
Chel, I love your face so hard. I just love it so much. This is why Chel needs to wrap all of the unicorn trash brains that are the rest of the speakers today. Sherry, you know what I'm talking about. But Chel, one of my favorite things about you is the fact that you're able to tell your storytelling activity and how you present yourself, but how you actually bring out the stories within ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things, you and I worked on a few interviews together. I think it was for one of the hosts. We went to their thing, and the best part about watching you, because I was on the other side of them, so I was producing and helping you out with stuff. And what I loved about what you did is that the amount of information that you got from somebody was very, very minimal, and then you were able to stretch the story that was not incorrect. It was just enhancing the little bitty thing, like, oh, by the way, I've got 27,000 years of experience, and I run 17 industries, and I have 45 children. It's like why are you not? And then you get the energy, you bring it out of them, which is just such a joy to watch. But I think I was telling, who was I talking to today? I think I was talking to Lori.
Yeah.
Today. It's Lisa, to Lisa. And I was like, wait until you see Chel. Because if you think my energy is high, like, it's just because I'm preparing for your stuff, just to kind of give people, like, just by the way, you might want to bring it here because you're going to go up to here in about a minute. But folks, I love your face so hard.
Well, thank you. And I love you guys too. Thank you so much for this. This is
we got a Q&A, love. So Lisa, she goes, oh my gosh, that was incredible. I'm jazzed up. Yeah, that's the best way. One of the questions I had, though, was within Screaming Your Dream, how do you pivot from asking for service instead of offering a service?
Right, for sure. I think it's honestly within this. So the interesting thing about the point that you made before is that oftentimes people are talkers and not listeners. And that's the key to you being a great interviewer. Myself, I pride myself on the way in which we create conversations and not interviews, because oftentimes people think networking is a one-way scenario where I'm going to share everything that I have. I'm going to pitch so hard and then be able to figure it out, and hopefully they buy something at the end, right? Oh my goodness. But ultimately, if you listen, if you're really listening to what it is that they need based on the services that you offer, it's not a hard pitch. It's just simply you answering the question that they're already asking. And so it's simply saying, I offer this because you heard them say that they needed it already. It's not about you giving them a PowerPoint presentation. I mean, in my youth, and I have to be honest, in my youth, I would have pre-do the PowerPoint before the meeting. I'd pre-do the PowerPoint. It'd be amazing. I'd say, okay, I know what I'm going to sell, and it's going to be great. Only when I listened to them and everything that I created in that document was wrong. Yeah. Everything that I prepared for had nothing to do with what they needed and or wanted.
Right.
At that point, I stopped. I stopped pre-preparing for these meetings, aside from bringing my skill set and my personality and my personal brand to the table. Let them tell you what they want. Let them tell you what they want, and then have the conversation and offer it. And so an offer and an ask, I think that is very similar in the soft serve of things, but you must be very intentional. In the Scream Your Dream scenario, again, a lot of people confuse screaming for yelling. In my definition of screaming, it's with intention. So it's to say, you need to hire me, not like just, we're not crying health here. You know what I mean? We're not really saying this is worth listening to. I have something that can help you. And so when you go do it in that regard, even if they aren't willing or don't have the resources to pay you there, they clearly know what you offer. So someone else in their network may. Right. And so that's why it's important.
And I think the best, what you brought up is the fact of the difference between screaming and yelling. And I think that's especially for women, like, you primarily work with the women demographic, which is why you're so able to communicate that distinction and how important that is. I think with anything, your message is the most important. But like you said, like, they're already asking for it. They're reaching out to you because they're opening the door for a conversation. Like, it's important to have your message down, but also to offer rather than just say, like, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is why I'm amazing. It's like, too much.
No, absolutely. And I think that just really being present for the person that you are talking to, especially in a networking environment, the assumption is that, you're in a room with people who also are in need. You're there for a reason. Somebody else is there for a reason. So that there should already be a barrier and hurdle jumped there, right? Yeah. Why are you here? creating conversation versus, creating an interview scenario or a sales pitch. And that's why the tell, not sell philosophy is really important to me. It's really about telling the story versus selling the product or service.
It's so important. We've got 2 questions from Lisa. The first question is, what are the best ways to share your brand through story?
Oh, I love that. I love that. So I think all of us need to be really comfortable with the highlight, and I brought it up, the highlight reels of what it is that you are doing. And I think that if you were to write your autobiography, right, and you are to pull out the good stuff, right, we don't all want to watch the full game. We want to watch the highlights. We want to watch the receptions and the touchdowns. You need to take some time, pizza and pajamas, gluten-free, right? Sit down and figure out your wins. Use your resume as maybe as a staple to kind of look, okay, where are the jobs? And in those particular jobs or experiences, what were my wins? You need to get comfortable sharing those wins. Because again, like I mentioned about my boy, John Bon Jovi, he travels around the world playing the same songs over and over and over again. And we rely on those songs. We want those songs. So in our mind, we're saying, oh my gosh, everybody's heard Scream or Dream before. Everybody's heard it before. But think about the marketers, the keynote speeches, the books that you reread, because you need to be re-educated in that space. You need to be re-enthusiastic, or you need to gain some other sense of enthusiasm. So oftentimes we feel very nervous about telling the same story over and over again, or about being repetition in what it is that we're doing, where I truly think ultimately it's identifying your highlights to answer the question, and then being prepared to share those highlights repeatedly. Now make sure that your highlights have a beginning, middle, and end, right?
Yeah.
Learned from those highlights.
It's
right?
not bullet points. It's highlights. Yeah.
Bullet points. I would love to say, my father's a doctor of chemistry. My mother's a principal. I would love to say that I'm a structured human. In favor. I'm not. So everything in my life is not a dissertation. It's a series of bullet points. So I suggest that you just get a series of bullet points, because you're not going to have your resume in your pocket at the bat mitzvah. You're not going to have the PowerPoint presentation at your nephew's, he's never going pro, at your nephew's Little League game. You're never going to have it. But you're going to have your highlight reel, right? You're going to have, oh my goodness, this is why I'm justified for you to hire me, or for you to share my experience in your absence.
Dude, I love you. We're going to wrap up with one more question. So maybe you can just give us like the top 3, your bullet points, just because we're wrapping things up. But this was a great question coming from Lisa again. What are the biggest personal branding no-nos?
Oh, no-nos. Okay, so my top 3 is not for personal brand. Sharing, faking it till you make it, pretending to be someone else it was cliche. It was one of those things, fake it till you make it so you could feel more comfortable fitting in. You're a liar. Anything fake is not authentic. The fake bag will never be a Louis Vuitton, ever. So stop saying that you're faking it till you make it. You are who you are, and eventually you'll be where you want to be. So that's my big thing, is not fake it till you make it. Do not, not fake it till you make it, but also on the other end of it, just make sure that you are not oversharing your weaknesses. A lot of us lead with what you haven't done. I talk to students all the time, and they want to start the conversation about their future, about the 9 majors that they've decided not to do. I don't care where you've been that didn't work. I want to focus on where you're going. Yeah. So I think a lot of us want to say, I'm sorry that I was a yoga instructor, but now I want to be a health coach. You're just a health coach. You're a health coach. Focus on that and utilize what you learned as a yoga instructor to benefit you as a health coach. I think that so many times we want to take our clients or potential clients on our negative journey.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask you for how many times you failed. They don't want to hear it, right? It makes them nervous about that. And the other piece, again, was going back to inviting people to one party with one address. So many of you are so hell-bent on holding on to your Yahoo email or your AOL account or your username from 1999 that doesn't serve you today. So I want you to make sure that all of the addresses that you have for all of your social platforms, for your website, is as consistent as you could possibly make it. I know that not all usernames are available and that you're not able to do that, but I know that I want you to make sure that that's consistent. So don't fake it till you make it. Stop oversharing things that did not work out for you in that favor, and make sure that all of the addresses to find you online are consistent.
Amazing. And so how can people find you and tell us about your streamer program?
Yes, please, please. I am constantly looking to tell amazing, inspiring stories to remarkable people. And so I'm always looking for streamers. So these are bloggers from all across the country and internationally as well that have a story to tell. So we are about sharing joy. And now more than anything, people need a beautiful escape where they can be educated and engaged. And This Is It TV is committed to doing that. So in addition to producing and distributing my show, I also produce other content as well. So get in touch with us, thisisItTV.com. Just hit contact us. It goes directly to me. And then follow, fan, and like us everywhere you can find at This Is It TV.